Hey everyone, it's the TheAngryHoneyBadger, and it is time for us to take a look at a champion build video today. I am playing as Nasus. I actually do have a guide for him already. I believe it was back in Season 2, though. Maybe it was Season 1, I don't even remember. Anyways, it actually is still a pretty good, legit guide, but I thought I'd make a little updated one because it's some footage I have since lolreplay is currently broken. I can't access any of my other stuff I need to turn into videos at this current moment, so you guys are going to get this. This build's going to be different from the other one, though. The other one's kind of a more damage half-tank Nasus, which is still a legit build. If you want to go check it out, I'll put a link in the description to it. But this build is actually going to be more of the full tank Nasus, which you might be more familiar with. Typically, you'd be going top lane with him, but we noticed that they had a Teemo on their team, and he actually could do a decent job of negating my farm and kind of poking at me a little bit easier, so we sent Morgana up there and me to the middle. Shouldn't affect us too, except for make things a little bit easier for me. I can take Katarina's nonsense pokes over and over, though, because of my passive, which is kind of nice on Nasus. It's his Soul Eater. Basically, he has Lifesteal at level, or Lifesteal, good lord. Sustain, Lifesteal. He has Lifesteal at level 1, and it goes up as the game continues. I believe you're at like 12 or 14% at level 1. It's very, very nice to have. So you have Lifesteal as a passive. Kind of awesome. At level 1, though, I do like to start with a Crystalline Flask. It's going to be nice to help you live in lane. After that, I actually would do 1 pot and 1 ward if you're going to be top lane, but I was not, so I took a mana pot in case I needed it. But this build, when I did do this video, or when I played this game, this was before he got buffed. So, since then, he's actually been buffed a little bit, so it's even better now. He farms better, he gets more for his Q, which we're going to talk about in 1 second after I get done murdering Katarina. So, you get more damage on that, which, like I said, we'll go over, and lots of other reasons. Ignited and minions OP, but it's okay, I'm going to pick up that kill on Katarina as she runs away. Ignited, those minions, though, going to town on me. But, going to escape nicely. We're trying to farm up fairly well this game, not really doing that amazing, to be honest, so far. The main things you want to know about Nasus: he's not really weak early game, but he's not strong. He's a good late game champion. The later the game goes, the better he gets. And the reason for this is because of his Q ability, which is his Siphoning Strike. Every time you use your Siphoning Strike to kill anything, minions, champions, you get an additional 3 damage on it when you kill the small minions, and you get 6 when you kill champions or bigger minions. Added to its damage, and there's no limit to this. So if you do not know why Nasus hurts you so much late game, it's because he's been farming his Q up, and he's going to murder with it later in the game. So what you want to do in lane is farm really well and last hit minions with your Q when it's activated. You're going to become disgusting late game. So that's the main ability I take with him, and that's the first thing you're going to want to max. You get a lot of damage output with that. The next thing you usually want to take is your W ability, which is your Wither. That's his awesome slow, so that's what you're going to want to use. It's pretty sweet for catching up to people. And then as for his E ability, that's going to be his Spirit Fire. You're going to lay down that big circle ring you're going to see. It's going to deal some magic damage. You're not going to really worry about it dealing magic damage, though. What it's also going to do is reduce the enemy's armor the longer they stand in it. So when you go up to hit them, it's going to hurt them a lot more because their armor will be depleted a little bit. And then finally, his ultimate is Fury of the Sands, which when you ultimate, you're going to get a chunk of life, and you're going to have that, you're going to get huge, too. And then you're going to have that Sands around you dealing percentage damage of their health when you are next to them. So, some solid stuff. A lot of his abilities scale off of AP, at least those last 2 do, but you're not worried about building AP or building tanky because your Q, the better you farm it, the longer the game goes, the better basically he gets. You can have a bad early game and turn it all around come mid to late game. Does not matter with Nasus. One thing I will say is I wouldn't even be worried. I mean, if you can get kills in your lane doing fine that way, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you can just farm and basically negate them from getting a little bit of farm or negate them from being able to kill you, you're going to outscale your opponent almost every time because that's just how this champion works. A lot of people would actually call him broken in this aspect, but it comes down to careful planning early on in the game and just being able to know what he does best. I mean, some people know LeBlanc obviously is good early game, so you need to get bursty, get kills, do all you can early game with LeBlanc. She falls off late. Nasus is the other way. You want to survive the early game and do not feed them so much that they can murder you, and if you make it to late game the way he usually goes, it's going to be pretty disgusting. Going over my boots and my other items that I have started building as this game's been progressing a little bit, I have actually finished my boots out completely. I went with Merc Treads this game because of that AP, do a little bit of magic resist on my boots since I was dealing with Katarina, who's now up here in my lane. A little bit of a switch around happening because of other things happening in other lanes. And then I'm actually starting to build straight away into a Warmogs armor. Like I said, I'm not really worried about damage right now because my Q is just I keep farming it up, and I'm going to keep working on that, and that's going to help me with my damage that I do need. Like I said, his ultimate with that percentage damage when you're just in a fight is going to deal damage too, so the longer you live and the longer you fight, the better you do. And the other nice thing is his passive. You have lifesteal, so you don't even have to worry about some sustain in lane. You naturally have it built into your kit, so kind of some nice things working for us when it comes to playing Nasus. Really good pusher, really good farmer. As you can see, the minion kills for me has finally started going up. I finally started farming. It was a little rough early. I will say the easiest time to kill Nasus is early game when his Q isn't farmed and he doesn't really have too much utility. Levels 1, 2, 3, these are probably some of your better chances to kill him and pick up some easy kills if you're trying to get ahead of a Nasus, because later in the game it just becomes a little tough depending on how he's building. I am getting tanky. We're trying to murder Lee Sin. I think he's going to barely get away because of some heals and some of his shields, but that's going to happen. But we're going to keep farming. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to get to a little bit of a fight here. We find a couple of them over here. There goes a Nami ult just kind of randomly. But we're going to get in a fight. We're going to go try to work on this Corki. I'm going to be using my Q. As you can see, it takes about 200 to 300 health every time we hit him, and I'm going to be able to pick up a kill on him, so that's going to be good, some good stuff happening. And I have a blue buff, which is never a bad thing on Nasus. I believe another buff that has happened to him since this game happened is his Q ability now is a flat rate when it comes to using it when you're going for some last hits. So its cost is cheaper now than when it was before, because you could actually run out of mana fairly early. If you're just constantly farming his Q, you could actually run out of mana if you're farming it constantly. But that's what Crystalline Flask is going to help you with a little bit. But if you can get a hold of a blue buff for the cooldown reduction and the mana, that's never a bad thing. So see if it's okay with your team. I believe I'm playing with friends this game, so it's not a big deal. Other than that, we're going to keep building. The next item I did pick up was a Sheen, which is going to give me a little bit of AP, which will help with the ultimate and with that that E ability with the Spirit Fire. It is also going to help me when I am hitting, because when you activate your Q ability, you're going to deal extra bonus physical damage. And I did also pick up some armor, which will be going and tag teaming up with the Sheen with a new item in Season 3, being the Iceborn Gauntlet. That's what I'm building next, because armor is going to be good to have on me. I'm at 96 magic resist right now, so I'm actually doing pretty good right there. You may have noticed earlier in the game that I was actually running into mushrooms on purpose. That's because I have the Warmogs and I'm Nasus, so I'm going to go ahead and eat those for my team so they don't find them later, because they're really not going to hurt me too bad. Lee Sin's going to try to get in here to smite this. Hecarim's over there. We're not really worried. We were able to pick up the dragon. And now we're going to get into a little bit of a fight. The Nami ult goes out. We're just going to focus who we can. Going to try to kill the Lee Sin, who is kind of a pain in the butt. But we are just going to use our Q and murder him real quick. Move in here. Katarina's trying to hide, but we see her, so we're going to murder her rather quick as well. And call that a decent team fight. Doing okay right now. We got 3 kills, 3 assists, no deaths, and 160 plus farm. Going to keep pushing and keep farming. Just keep farming Nasus. Now, one thing to address with other people who play Nasus, a lot of people do realize that he works really well when you do farm his Q, and that's what you need to do. You want to farm, and that's what you just want to keep farming. You want to keep farming. Now, another problem you'll have with this is when your Nasus is on your team, and he doesn't ever come to team fights because he's always in a lane farming, because he's like, I need to keep farming. He does also need to come help you as well, so don't be afraid to yell at your Nasus to come group up. He can take a break out of his farming to come help the team, because that will definitely be nice. There I picked up another couple assists, but he needs to be map aware. So don't just sit in lane to farm because the Honey Badger said farm your Q constantly. You should when you can, but help your team out. It's going to go better for you in the long run. Alright, so I'm going to keep building items. The next one I am building towards is going to help me out in many ways. We'll go over that when we get a little bit closer to it. We're going to keep pushing towers. Do not forget that you can activate your Q when you are hitting towers for some bonus damage, especially with a Sheen built into that that Iceborn Gauntlet. Gonna get the slow out on the Katarina. Flash in there, jump in there, use my ult. Not really care about the world because you're Nasus. I believe, who's tanking this? Am I tanking this? I am. It's kind of hard to tell when you're Nasus, because, let's face it, I've been tanking it and I don't really care still. Gonna go ahead and kill everyone I can, kill the Lee Sin, and help with killing other champions. tanked that tower, used my ultimate, and I did get a kill ult at one point, which was kind of nice, but you can see how it wasn't too much of a problem for me. I'm going to heal up with those standard attacks with that lifesteal built in, and the Warmogs is going to be feeding me my health back as well because of its awesome health regen. Now that item technically has been nerfed since this game happened, but just barely. It's still a good item. Don't be afraid about the 0.5% missing now. But it's still definitely an epic item, especially when you start building lots of health and you're doing a full tank build with that item. We're going to get into a little fight again. They're going to keep chasing us from here. My ult's already back up because it's been a little while. I'm going to see Morgana come back out here. We got to focus down the damage, though, by getting to the Corki. You could see me hit that Q. Kind of did a lot of life, but the Kale picked up the kill, which is going to be fine. We're going to chase now towards the towards somebody. I don't know. Oh, now Lee Sin. And Cat is going to jump over here to our Morgana. They must have this warded, but we're going to finish her off real quick and just slap her in the face with a nice siphoning strike or something and pick up a kill there. So we're 5-0-9 now, which with 178 farm. So doing okay. Wish we had a little bit more farm, but like I said, early game was not perfect for us. We're going to keep building, though. The next item I have picked up is a Spirit Visage, which is going to give me some magic resist. So right now we're at 152 armor, 154 magic resist, so we're kind of tanky in that aspect. We do have like 3,300 health, which is going to be nice. And that Spirit is going to help us with a few things. You get the passive, or you get bonus health regeneration, so my built-in lifesteal is actually going to help me more now, and my Warmogs is actually going to be healing me for even more. And it's got some built-in cooldown reduction, which is even better to have your Q ability up even more often so you can siphoning strike them over and over and over. So overall, a great item to just team up with the rest of your kit. Kind of these three, I would say, are your main items for your build. At this point, the build can actually differ. Make sure you have your boots and these three items, but you have armor because of the gauntlet, you have the magic resist because of the spirit, and then you have a ton of health because of the Warmogs and tons of health regen. So you're going to be really tanky at this point and be able to do what you want. I'm 5-0-12 at this point, and I'm just going to start running at them in towards their towers because I'm really not worried about it. Going to pick up an assist right there and keep working over the base as the game continues. But yeah, this is Nasus. This is what he does. I started farming, and I started getting kills and assists, and he's a little bit hard to kill and stop. I think I start to even get careless at the end of this game because dying to them, I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it's going to be hard for them to do that because you really don't want to focus Nasus, but he does have the damage, so you have to be careful about that. There they tried to jump across and steal the Baron, in which I believe they did succeed, but I think it's not really going to matter because we're just going to chase them and get kicked, apparently, and run into shrooms. But as you can see, none of that damage seems to really be bothering me. So good job on their part for stealing Baron. I guess we didn't smite it correctly, did we, Shrindamir? But I'm going to go ahead and pick up this blue buff just so I have it because my team said go take that. Cooldown reduction and mana regeneration on you is never a bad thing. We're doing pretty good. And we're going to go back to base and continue the build. Now at this point, depending on what the other team is doing, I was going full tank. If you want to pick up some damage at this point, you can, but I decided to stack even more health. This Giant's Belt can go towards two items. This kind of comes down to a personal preference at this point. You can either do a Randuins Omen, which is fantastic, even more health, even more armor, and its passives on that and its actives. Don't forget about that for Omen. And then, or you could do a Sunfire Cape, which is going to be awesome because you get some more armor, because right now we want to address some more armor. We're getting to that point in the game. Going to pick one of those up if you want that item, but this game's going to end before we get to that point. And Sunfire's going to be awesome when your ultimate is up. You're going to be burning them even more when you're just getting them in close range. So that is one of the two items you could get for that next slot, because you're probably going to look for some more armor. Your magic resist is actually at a pretty good level right now. If you needed more because they're a heavier mana or magic resist team, if you want to pick up a runic bulwark and no one's picked one up on your team, then that's never a bad idea. But a Wits End also could be considered. You'd start to get a little more damage and attack speed, which wouldn't be bad, but we're going tanky. And then the other item I would suggest, because you're going to sell that Crystalline Flask, is an Atma's Impaler, which is going to give you some crit chance, going to give you some armor if you want to skip out on those other armor items, and then it's going to give you a percentage of your health back as damage. So you're actually going to pick up a handful of damage that way. So you can do that if you would want to, but we're going full tank Gnawsus, and as we can see, we don't really have to care about anything. We're going to pick up kills and assists. Still haven't died this game. I don't believe I'm going to at this point. We're healing up quite well because of the passive healing from the spirit and from the healing from the Warmogs. So we're just going to stand in base. I guess we'll use our Crystalline Flask while we're waiting to finish murdering. But I'm just going to stand here and naturally heal. And take heals from Nami too. Never a bad thing. Another situational item I will mention, since I know somebody's going to talk about it in the description. Ravenous Hydra, if you want to get one real late game, you can do that. I wouldn't say it's a good first item, to be honest. I know people worship this item. It's really not that amazing. It's decent, but it's a good late game item, but not as your first item. So that's what I'll say about it. You can disagree if you want to, but I almost rather have a Bloodthirster. And now everybody keeps wondering if Blade of the Ruined King's even better. But you got to remember, Blade of the Ruined King, as much as it does give you that percentage damage and some attack speed, which is awesome, it doesn't give you that much physical damage. So that's going to pretty much be the game. Going to end it out with us 8 kills, no deaths, and 16 assists. Maybe 17 assists. I don't know. We're going to kill Cat? Oh, Cat jumped away. How sad. But this game's going to pretty much finish up. There's going to be more items in the description and the full build there. Runes and Masteries, I will put them in the description as well. We're going to go with the tanky rune page and tanky Masteries, so pretty standard stuff. Really nothing oddball there. So, you know, armor seals, magic resist per level, glyphs, movement speed, Quints. But all that's in the description, guys. I hope you enjoyed this build. But other than that, I'll just see all of you in the next build video.